My name is Margaret Green. I am 75 years old. My house is a small brick one on the edge of town. Robert, my husband, built this house himself when we were young. In the front yard, he put in rose bushes. They bloom red and full every spring. They make me think of the flowers he gave me when we were dating. We sought after a child for a long time, but it never came about. We got Daniel when I was 37 years old. He was very young. He became our world after that day. He was like a son to us. He also loved us. I saw him get older. He's 35 years old now. A lot of the time, I feel like life gave us another chance to be a family. Daniel gave me a small box before he moved to the city for a new job. Silver paper was used to wrap it. There was a small phone inside. It had a small screen and a green button that you could press to call. It had his name on it. "Here, Mom," he said with a grin. "This lets us talk whenever we want. I'll answer if you press this green button." I had the phone in my hand. I was shocked and scared. I had never used one before. I told him, "If you can, promise me you'll call every day." He gave me a smile and a hug. "Mom, I promise. Every day I will make sure you hear my words." It felt like the little phone could help me get in touch with him. Every day I would keep it close. The first week was great. Daniel called every morning. With my tea in hand, I sat by the window. I was looking forward to the happy sound. My heart beat fast when it rang. He told me about his new job, his small apartment, and the noisy streets. He had a lot of fun. I also laughed. The house felt like it had life again. Daniel's voice sounded like Robert's to me. I cooked his favorite meals sometimes when he wasn't around. There was meatloaf and mashed potatoes. I ate by myself and pretended that he was sitting next to me, telling me about his day. I wrote in my journal at night. Once more, my son's voice fills the room. My new light in the dark is my phone. Things changed slowly, though. The call did not come one morning. There I was. He might have been late. By evening, there was nothing. The next day, he told his mom, "Sorry, I'm busy today." I forgot about it. It's okay to have one day. It went from 1 day to 2 days to 5 days. They were calling for less time. He sounded worn out. I could hear music, laughs, or other people sometimes. He told me who was there when I asked. "Mom, it's just friends, do not worry." Even though I tried not to worry, I couldn't take my mind off of him. Months turned into weeks. I still made food for two. I stuck to bad habits that hurt me. I always had the phone close by. It was on the chair when I swept the floor. It was in my pocket when I watered the plants. It was under my pillow at night. It buzzed sometimes. I jumped, but it was never him. It was either a phone company message, a call from the wrong number, or an ad. I once picked up the phone of a stranger just to say hello. I wrote to him in my journal as if he could read them. "Hi, Daniel. Today I made your favorite soup. I wish you were here to taste it with me." "Hi, Daniel. I saw a boy who rode his bike like you used to." I laughed, then I cried. "Has Daniel visited recently?" They asked their neighbors a lot. "Yes," was always my answer. It can be easier to tell soft lies than to tell hard ones. Winter came early. It was cold at night. The wind made the house shake. I sat next to the heater one night. I looked at the wall picture of Robert. "Why do you wait so long, Margaret?" his smile asked. "Because I told him I would," I said in a whisper. Then, one wet night, everything changed. The sky was dull. The roof got wet. The phone rang while I was knitting by the window. The happy tune from the ringtone filled the room. It was shaking my hand. I almost dropped it. The green button was pressed, and I said, "Daniel!" There was a pause. "Ma'am, are you Mrs. Margaret Green?" asked a man's voice. I said yes, right away. "Who is this? Is Daniel there?" The man's voice was soft. "I'm calling from Greenford's St. Mary's Hospital. Your number was in a wallet. The son of yours owned it." My heart stopped beating. It rained harder outside. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Green. 2 months ago there was an accident. He did not make it. We tried to get in touch with you earlier." I was unable to speak. The phone was close to my chest. I wished it could bring him back. The man talked more about papers and things. I couldn't hear. 2 months. It had been 2 months since I last got a call. It never came. My son was already gone when I thought he had forgotten about me. I didn't cry that night. I held the phone while sitting in the dark. Even though the screen was black, I could see his happy, alive face in my thoughts. I wrote in my notebook in the morning, "Now I know why my phone never rang. My son wasn't doing anything. He was too far away for me to reach." A small gift from the hospital showed up the following week. It had his wallet, watch, and an old picture of us in our yard inside. I put the picture on the shelf above the fireplace next to Robert's. Then I put Daniel's button phone next to it. It was still charged and ready to go. I make tea for 2 every morning. I can't get rid of old habits. I'm sitting by the window. "Good morning, Daniel. How is the weather up there?" I say as I look at the empty chair. When the wind blows through the curtains, I sometimes hear a soft voice calling my name. I like to believe that he is trying to call me without the phone. The phone is still on. There's no reason for me to charge it before bed every night. I do it to remember that love never ends. It only changes form. That sound might play again one day when I'm not there. When I answer this time, it will be his.